Yo guys, what's up? Welcome to my channel if you're new, welcome back if you're not. Today, I got some beginner tips and tricks for you guys that's going to help you get back in the new world. Believe it or not, this game actually does have a lot of returning players and a lot of new players playing the game every single day. So today I thought I would make some tips for those players. Tip number one, your attributes are going to help pick a weapon. What I mean by this is when you go into your attributes, strength is going to have weapons beside it, and these weapons are going to scale off of your strength stat. Same with dexterity. Dexterity is going to have weapons beside it, and those are going to scale off dexterity, and intelligence is going to have the same thing. Same with focus. Some weapon will scale off of both. So for example, sword and shield scales off of strength. Sword and shield also scales off of dex. So whatever weapon you're liking, so if you spawn in the world and you're liking the sword and shield, then you can look underneath strength for something to combo it with, or you can look underneath dex for something to combo it with. But you wouldn't really want to combo a sword and shield with like an ice gauntlet because those don't scale off the same thing. My next tip I can give new players or returning players is there's equipment loads in this game. So basically everything has a weight to it. So this defiled helmet of scholar is legendary heavy headwear, and depending on how much weight you have, this bar will go up beside everything. So light is anything underneath 13 pounds, medium is anything under 23 pounds, and then heavy is just anything above that. And if you're heavy, you pretty much want to max out your heavy stat. What equipment loads affect, you can hover over at the top right here, and it will show you everything that the equipment load can do. But just keep that in mind when you're putting on pieces of gear, that you want to stay within the equipment load that you are trying to aim for. Every class is going to be different, meaning that like a bow player is probably going to want to be in like light gear, but a sword shield player is probably going to want to be in like heavy gear. So depending on what class you are, depends on what gear you're going to want to use. But just because something's meta doesn't mean you're going to necessarily have to use it. For example, I'm Firestaff Ice Gauntlet, and most Firestaff Ice Gauntlet players will use a light equipment load, but I use a medium. I'll show you some screenshots on screen right now, just of me playing OPR, and OPR is basically the PvP game mode in this game. Basically a very competitive game mode, and here's some of my scores in that game. Basically top of the team, or number 1 overall, maybe top 5 overall. So just because something's meta, just because everybody's using something, doesn't necessarily mean you have to use it, because you can still do extremely well just doing your own thing. My next tip for anybody returning or new players is going to be do the MSQ and all of the side quests around that MSQ in one territory, and then move on to the next territory. So for example, when you start off, I think you start off in like Monarch's Bluff now. I could be wrong, but do like all the quests in Monarch before you move on, and do all the quests in Windsward before you move on, and then do all the quests in Everfall, and keep going down the line like that, and do all the quests in the zone. And you should end up not touching Ebonscale, Great Cleave, Shattered Mountain, Eden Grove, and I think half of Morningdale. And Brimstone you won't touch either. You won't touch a lot of territories if you do this, just because you'll be max level by the time you get to these territories. And it'll take you roughly like 10 hours, maybe even less, depending how quick you are. That's just pretty much how long it took me on my ult. Alright, here's another tip for you guys. When you reach about level 20 or 15 or something like that, like 15, 20, 25, somewhere around there, you're going to go into a major city. Another main story quest is going to pop up for you, but it's going to look like a horseshoe. I'm pretty sure it's been a while since I did it. It's going to look like a horseshoe. Make sure you go to that horseshoe, because that's your mount quest, and you're going to pick up the mount quest and get your mount right away. You can only do this if you bought the expansion, the Elysian Wild, but I would highly recommend do this. It just cuts back on travel time so much. It'll be nutty. So definitely pick up your mount now if you have the expansion. Alright, here's another tip for you guys, is to skin everything that you are killing. So in this game, there are trade skills, basically gathering, refining, and crafting. And while you are killing boars, while you are killing wolves, while you are killing anything, bears that need to be skinned or whatever, make sure you are getting up your tracking and skinning, just because you can get up so passively. It's really so easy to level this skill up while you are leveling through the world. And you can just basically, if you're not interested in doing any of the trade skills, you can just sell off all the materials at the end and make a shitload of money. So the only one you really should be doing while you're leveling is tracking and skinning. All these other skills, you pretty much have to go out of your way for. So I wouldn't really worry about that, but tracking and skinning, make sure you get that while you are leveling, while you are playing through the world, at least. It's super passive. The next tip I can give for new and returning players is quick salvage is control plus C. So when you're in your thing, a lot of people go here, go salvage, and then click again, right? 3 clicks you gotta do, right? But if you hold control C, you just have to left click and everything will disappear. There's no, like even if you do C click, like salvage tells you to do right here, says C plus click. Even if you do C click, you gotta do the confirm still. So, but if you hold control C, you can just click everything. And you're actually gonna use that tip way more than you think. Control C is quick salvage. Save some time by doing that. Alright, my next tip for new and returning players is only upgrade your gear once you hit a roadblock. Meaning, there's gonna be some quests that you have to do a 1v1 fight with like this mini boss. And they're pretty fun, but a lot of the times those were the roadblocks my buddies hit and even I hit when I was on my ult. So when you hit those roadblocks, what you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want to head to a trade post. A trade post is gonna have this symbol on your map. It's gonna be like this little scale. It's gonna be in like any of the outposts. You're gonna go to a trade post and now you're gonna upgrade your gear. Now you're gonna go into here, choose your apparel. If you're looking for like a heavy chest piece or whatever, you're gonna go in here and you're gonna look for what you need. To be even more specific, at this point you should have already decided on like what kind of weapons you want. By the time you hit your first roadblock, you're definitely gonna already have that chosen. So you're gonna come up here to this little filter here. You're gonna click this and you're gonna look for the attributes in particular that you want. So say you chose Life Staff, Void Gauntlet as your class, which is like a healer. You're gonna look for like Focus, Con, maybe single attribute only. You don't have to do the single attribute only, but say you just want single attribute only. I would leave the perks for now because you're not too sure what you want yet because you're still pretty new or returning. Same with the gems, just leave all that and apply. And then you're gonna want to sort by price. Make sure you have the cheapest at the top here. And then you're gonna go through and see if there's anything that you can wear. Maybe if you want to even filter it even a little bit more, do can use up at the top here. Up at the top, can use, and this will show you like your level of what you can use. So if you're only level 23 or whatever, you're only going to see the level 23 gear and below up here, right? This will just help you choose your gear a little bit better with the filters anyways. And then you can do the same for the weapons. You can go over here to the weapon, magical weapons. Say you pick Life Staff, filter, Focus, Con. You don't have to do single attribute, but you can use. Search by price, make sure you have the lowest at the top, and you're just going to go through and see what can help you out on your journey. You will only hit like 3 roadblocks throughout your journey, meaning you will only really have to come to the trade post and upgrade your gear 3 times throughout your leveling process. If you're coming to the trade post any more than 3 times when you're leveling, you're just wasting your money. Okay, so on the same note as the roadblock, when you hit a roadblock, my next tip for you is buff food. Buff food is extremely underused. Again, you're going to go to a trade post. When you open it up, you're going to go down to consumables here. In consumables, you can go to potions. Make sure you stock up on potions. But you're going to go down to attribute food. This is your buff food. Attribute food is your buff food. So for example, say we're on the life staff still. You're going to go to focus. And then you're going to look through this food. And not everything is going to be strictly focus. So this particular venison jerk increases focus and strength. And if you're only life staff and you're not using any strength weapon, then that's not going to be good for you. So you're going to look for something that's actually going to buff you. This is focus and dex. This one is focus and intelligence. This one is just focus. So come in here, get some buff food, and then go and do your fight that you're stuck on. This will actually help you out a lot. Do not sleep on the buff food. All right, I'm gonna stick to the trade post tips while we're in here. So if you have been following these tips, if you've been doing what I've said, then you should have been doing your tracking and skinning while you're leveling, which means when you hit a roadblock, you should be able to come in here, go to gathering tools, go to your skinning knife. You should be able to get a better skinning knife. Let's just say the iron, for example. Well, by the time you hit your roadblock, you'll probably be able to get like a steel. And this actually boosts the gathering speed. So a normal iron knife gathering speed is 245%. The steel skinning knife speed is 425%. So you almost double the speed just by upgrading the knife, which will make skinning way quicker. Like it takes me like a second to skin something, so it's definitely worth it. So every time you hit a roadblock, you're also going to come in here and see if you can upgrade your knife. You're only going to do this anytime you hit a roadblock. You come into the trade post to upgrade your gear. You're going to check for the knife, and then you're going to do this when you're level 65. You're going to come back in here, and hopefully you're going to get a big nice knife with 670 gathering speed, and this will just help you out so much. Eventually you're going to work your way up to the legendary one. And the reason why you want legendaries is because they're guaranteed to have an alignment on it. This basically gives you a moat, which is just extra money anytime you skin something or mine something. Like any legendary tool will have alignment on it, which is just extra free money for you. Sorry if that was a little overwhelming. Definitely replay that clip if you need just to be sure of what I said or to understand anything. But another tip, I think I have 2 more tips for you guys here. Another tip for new and returning players is the heart rune in Brimstone. When you come into Brimstone, you're gonna have a main story quest. The main story quest is not just going to be given to you. It's going to pop up on the map when you're about like, I don't know, like 10% in Brimstone or whatever. You just got to do some quests when you come into Brimstone. But eventually it's going to pop up right up here. Literally the main story quest is going to pop up here with the flame around it. You'll see it. And then that's when you're going to want to head up here and talk to the guy and do that quest line. That is going to give you an ultimate slot here. So you'll unlock this slot, which is your ultimate. They call it like a heart rune, but let's just call it what it is, ultimate. You want this. When you're max level, when you're at end game, you want to get this done as soon as possible because you're missing out on damage if you don't do this. This brings me to my last and final tip. My last and final tip is to upgrade your bags. A lot of the times when you're out in the world gathering, doing skinning, doing quests, your bag space is going to be filling up quite a bit. I should have done this while we were in the trade post. But also when you hit a roadblock, you're going to come into the trade post. Again, you're going to be looking for this symbol on your map. It's going to be like the little weight in every outpost. You're going to come over to the trade post. You're going to go to apparel. You're going to go to bags and you're going to see, you can do the filter, you can do the can use, apply, and you're going to just see if you can upgrade your bag. You're mainly just upgrading your bags for the more weight that you can carry. You're not really going to care about what they do at a low level. When you get to end game, the bag effects actually can help you quite a bit, but that's late game. If this video does well, I will come out with another like an advanced tip guide on what to do, like, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's basically it for the beginners, guys. I hope you guys liked this video. I hope it helped you guys out. Want to keep it short, sweet, and simple. If this video helped you guys out, make sure to give it a like. Make sure to subscribe because that helps. And I will come out with more videos in the future that are like this. Alright guys, that's it. Talk to you guys next time. Peace.